Welcome everyone, this is Francisco Cervantes at Cervantes Dog Training and Rehabilitation in Northfield, Vermont. So today, or this short clip, is all about marking boundaries. Boundaries are healthy for, in a sense, what we call waiting, or what I call myself the thinking, or self-regulation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit. If you're watching this video, is for our board and train program. So it's all about marking those boundaries, which is going to make our dogs kind of wait, and that's going to let us know and introduce the idea of like self-regulate or wait until we give you something else to do. What I'm going to do right here is we're going to start introducing the idea of how to mark our boundaries right away from the very beginning, right before we do something else, such as like marking boundaries over there at the door. So we're going to do the first step, which means door open right here does not mean anything. And so what we're going to do is, my goal is to make her think constantly, and thinking might look different for her than might look different for him or for this big boy. So what I'm going to do here is, door open does not mean anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play with the door and see her behavior right now. I don't have a lot of time to explain what that means, but just a little, it's full confusion. And your dog is allowed to be confused right now, especially when it's freshly new, these behaviors that I'm doing for her, especially because no one else has done it. So right here, door open does not mean anything. She's a little like, what is this? And that's okay if she's like that. As we do this exercise, which is going to be, that's something that we encourage people to do, then she'll get used to it, and then she'll figure out what the next step is. For right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait. Door open does not mean anything. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back and forth, and so don't forget to mark this boundary right away right here. This is what we're looking for, a little bit of energy and at the door. She's very sensitive. She doesn't require a lot of like this touch right now, or that pressure. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to put my leash right here. Nope. And nope. And I'm going to use my door here. I'm going to take my leash off, and I'm going to just encourage her to stay. That's it. That eye contact is what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is an acknowledgement, or saying, what is it that you want me to do? I do want that behavior instead, but you would expect a little bit of confusion in there. So she's doing the right thing, and door open does not mean anything. And what I'm doing here is, let me do my job, and let me tell you when I'm ready for you to come out. Okay? That's my next step. The okay is moving forward, and I'm gonna make her sit right here. So you're gonna see shaking her off. I'm not gonna be really picky right now about when I ask her to sit. I want her to stay, but she is waiting for me no matter what. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to encourage her to continue sitting, and what I'm gonna do the next step is I'm gonna move in and out of the crate just as a practice, because the next thing for them is, once they're outside, the next thing is they want to go outside, or they want to move forward to do the next thing. And I want them to interact with me differently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to point in a direction with a little tension right here, and you're going to see a little bit of like, well, I just came out from my crate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build the pressure right here. There you go. And then so she goes in, and I'm going to remind her again. Good. She's giving me eye contact. That's what I want. I want her to look at me for directions, and I want her to read my energy to see what else we're going to do. Okay? And then, there we go. So, nice. That's a lot better. Sit. I'm going to encourage her again. Okay? So, what I'm doing right here is, I'm not driving her, but I am putting a little tension in here. And I build the tension a little bit, not at once. I just build it slowly, and then I'm going to release it. And I'm going to try that again. So I'm going to build that tension right here, and then I'm going to point in the direction I want her to go. So right there, nice. And then I'm going to mark right here. She's giving me the eye contact, okay. There we go, nice. So right here, if you notice, she wants to go that way, but I'm going to do this a few times. So I'm going to point in the direction. And my goal right here is not to, what people think that, what we call dragging. We're not dragging a dog, we're just encouraging her to move forward, to use that brain to follow that direction. Here, I'm going to say, no. Okay. Good. And I'm going to put her back. Right here. Good. She's doing it on her own. And that's what I call thinking right there. You just point with, nope. You just point a little bit, you give the pressure with that energy to go in the direction you want them, and then you want them to use their brain to follow through at the end themselves. Okay? Good. So right here, I'm going to go back and forth. My next step is I'm going to take it from here. Nope. I'm going to take it from here, and I'm going to go to that door, which takes us to the outside. And that's the practice that we're going to do back and forth. So remember, boundaries, marking that boundaries, door open does not mean anything. Second exercise is to bring our dogs between the crate from the inside outside, and then I'm going back and forth. So right here, I have her waiting for me. I want that eye contact. If I'm leaning right here, she's not going to do as an effort to look at me in the eye, and I do want her to recognize what is it that we want right here. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to move between here and the door. Okay? Good. And what you're going to see me do is pressure release. At this point, you should already know what pressure release means. The pressure release that we're going to do is reminders with the pressure of the leash. We're going to call it 2. That 2 is a reminder, and 4 is going to be boundaries. So you're going to see me do both at the same time, and you should have already practiced this at this point. So what I'm going to do here, instead of going outside, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move backwards to the same spot that I was earlier. She's giving me eye contact. She's waiting for me. So I'm going to say, okay. And I'm going to give her a little feedback to say, let's go. I'm going to come back right here, right where we were. Sit. And good. And I'm going to wait for her. She wants, that's an okay thing to do, where she is thinking really hard and then she is gathering the information right here. What she's gathering is, what else do you want me to do? I want her to read me really well, and that's kind of like where the eye contact is for. Okay? Good. Nice. So here she did really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to suppress her with this. That's going to be a no. Sit. Okay. And I'm going to move back right here. Sit. Okay. I'm going to move back. Good. Door open does not mean anything. Here we go. So what I'm going to do here is to follow right here. What we're going to do is I got my dog from the crate and I did my step. Boundaries 1, 2, moving back and forth inside and outside the crate, and 3 between the crate, outside the crate, to here to this step. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play with the door to let her know that what I'm looking for is, I don't want your instincts to take off. I just want you to sit and think about our options together. Right now, what I'm looking for is focus on what I need, what the handler needs. And what I need is for her to wait for me and think hard. So what I'm going to do here is, door open does not mean anything. As you notice, I don't have any tension on the leash. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to move just outside the door. That's my next step. Okay? I'm going to give her a little pressure to follow. And I'm going to make her sit. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back and forth between this door frame right here. And that's kind of like the exercise. It's similar to what we did with the crate exercise. Okay? Sit. Okay? here is I'm going to play with the door. And now, just so you know right now what I'm doing, I'm also doing a combination of sitting. Sitting, it's not for a purpose of like, for looking cute as in obedience training. So what we're going to do is what I want is that I want that butt to go to the ground, and because I want that brain to relax a little bit more. So that's kind of like the main purpose of it, to help them relax a little bit longer. So what I'm going to do here is just waiting for me, and I'm going to play with the door, and I'm not holding her back. I'm not saying don't do this or don't do that. What I'm saying here right now is just wait for me to let you know what's the next step. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say okay, and I'm going to move back outside, okay? And then I'm going to move. Sit. Good. So I'm going to move back right now. There are two things that you could do right here. You can move straight right here, but she's going to be maybe cut up because she's facing on the opposite direction. But what I'm going to do is, another option that I could do is I could say, okay, move slightly forward and change directions, okay? Good. Pressure. That pressure release right there. Just reminders for right now. Coming back here and sit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the door, and I'm going to go back over here with her closer to her crate, okay? Sit. Okay? Sit. Okay? Sit. Now, so what I'm going to do here is we're going to end up the exercise by going inside. She obviously is wondering why we are coming back here instead of moving forward towards the outside world. So the purpose of this is just to practice. So what we're going to see is the practice is going to be between 2 minutes, 2 to 10 minutes long. Those are what we call mini sessions. The mini sessions the only purpose of this is for practice, practice, practice. The more pattern you have, the more practice, the better it gets. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to say okay, and again, as if you remember, I'm going to put the tension, and then and then she has to do it herself. So right here, there we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down right here with the door open, and I'm going to start playing with the leash right here. I'm going to put the leash on. Door open does not mean anything. And I'm going to finalize it with a close. Door. Right here. And I'm done right there.